Hello again, dear viewers. Firedrake McPhee here with another behind-the-scenes view of me creating my digital graphic novel, Balatro's Expedition. This time I think instead of just throwing in some generic background music, I'm going to try to put in some commentary of what I'm doing, maybe some stories of what's happened to me in the past week. Had a bit of a doozy, which I'll get into that later. I guess, if I do need some music, maybe I'll sing. We'll see. I don't make any promises. So, without further ado, let's draw a page. It was suggested that I do a sort of how-to or tutorial of what I'm doing as I do it. I'm not quite sure I'm ready for that. For one thing, at the speed that it's going to have to go, there wouldn't be a whole lot of time to really go into what I'm doing. It would probably need to be a separate video. And really, I'm just not really sure I'm quite ready for that. I'm actually quite new at this art thing, so I don't think I'm going to be doing any full-blown tutorials anytime soon, but I don't know, maybe one day. Frankly, I'm actually taking a few shortcuts that anyone really wanting to learn how to draw properly should not be doing. We're looking at me setting up one of them right now. This is largely because I was really only learning to draw so that I could write Balatro, and well, more specifically, so I could draw what I was writing. And I took as many shortcuts basically as I could so that I could dive right in. I did spend maybe about a year trying to, I guess you'd say, learn it properly. But eventually I realized how to do, well, this one particular shortcut. After all, I'm nearly 44 now. I was 42 when I decided to do this, maybe 41. And I would, hell, that makes me practically ancient among these YouTube artists. They all seem to be, all the ones I've watched seem to all be in either their teens or their 20s. One in particularly I really like who just turned 30, and she seems to be one of the older ones among the group. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's not like there's actually an age limit on artists, but definitely a lot later than, well, I'm not competing with them, but for lack of a better term, than my competition. But when and if I ever decide to go back and actually try to draw properly, well, without using the crutches that I'm using, I'm sure I'm going to have to unlearn a lot of bad habits. And as a certain meme says, ain't nobody got time for that. Especially me. Not now, anyway. Maybe someday, maybe. But for now, I'm just going to have to keep using my crutches so that I can get my digital graphic novel done. And it actually look somewhat decent. After I did my last video, someone asked me why it went by so fast. Well, that's mainly because I'm fairly sure no one would have wanted to sit through the hours that it takes for me to make one of these pages. Even with me starting toward the middle or the end of the process like I did last time. So this is done as a time lapse. I also noticed some technical issues with my last video, mainly with the time lapse like speeding up or slowing down for no reason that I could tell, at least not at the time. I know why now, but I believe I've solved this issue now by getting some new editing software. It's free, of course, because, well, I'm Poe and I can't afford the real stuff yet. If you're interested, it's called Hit Film Express. I'll put a link in the description. Uh, Basically, it is free. They also do the paid version, which apparently is used by like some big names, Hollywood, or at least some big names in YouTube, anyway. And the only thing you had to pay for it is, well, you have to share it on Facebook or Google Plus or something like that. Which, and from what I've seen so far, I'm pretty impressed. It's certainly better than the last one I was working with. But anyway, like I said, I'll put a link in the description. But now the time-lapse speed should at least be consistent throughout, though in general it is going to be faster because, well, this time there was about 2.5 hours of footage, which no one wants to have to sit through it at regular speed. So I had to kind of crunch it down to about 11 or 12 minutes, not counting intro time and a little bit of time at the end to wrap up. I hope everything's going all right for all of you since my last video, because I've had a doozy of a week myself. Earlier this week, I had a full-blown panic attack out of nowhere for no good reason at work. And on Thursday, I was the office idiot who let loose a ransomware attack on the computer network. This is particularly cringeworthy for me because I'm the one in the office with the computer science degree, and I freaking knew better than to do what I did. In case you're wondering, we did manage to recover everything on the network except what everyone had done that morning. Fortunately, this did happen at about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, so we didn't lose the entire day, except of course that it shut down the entire office for the rest of the day and a little bit on Friday morning. Which, by the way, this is a small CPA firm. Yeah, accountants. It's in March. That means it's in the middle of tax season. Yeah, the boss was not happy, to say the least. But like I said, it basically shut down the whole office for the rest of the day, a little bit of Friday morning. I was essentially out of it until sometime after lunch on Friday, because I also had to get my computer set back up because, of course, it was patient zero. So the IT guy that we had come in had to basically take the computer next to me, take out my hard drive, and then clone the computer next to me. Fun times. Oh, and by the way, I'm not one of the accountants, so at least, this wasn't keeping any of the tax returns from getting done. So, oh, what do? I hear you ask. I'm the bookkeeper, technically. Um, for the last couple of years, except during this time of year when the accountants are too busy to do this, my boss has been having me do other things while the accountants do the bookkeeping, which basically left me to do all the other things that he wanted me to do, mainly billing, which I'm not thrilled about this situation, by the way. So anyway, yeah, like an indecisive person's Facebook relationship status, it's complicated. Anyway, enough about that. It looks like I have a few minutes left here, so I suppose I can give a quick overview of my process for creating one of these pages. First, I generally work out the specifics of what's going to be said by the characters on the page, or I'll work out their poses, depending on basically which of the two I consider more central to the particular page. Say, for instance, if there's a lot of talking, generally that dialogue or monologues, like in this case, is will need to be figured out first, and then the panels will work around that. Whereas if it's more of an action page, the poses will take precedence. There may not even be any dialogue, or if there is, it'll need to fit in whatever corners, in whatever spaces that won't interfere with the art. So, in this case, worked out the monologue first. It's the only thing I didn't show here, just in case I accidentally put in any spoilers for future pages. Once that was done, I worked out the page layout, such as the number of panels and their arrangements. Then I go into my 3D modeling program, which currently I'm using DAZ 3D because it's free. I work out the poses of the characters for each panel. Then I render the panels and import them back into my page. By the way, I use Clip Studio Paint Pro for the actual drawing. It's the only software actually that I use in this process that isn't free because once again, I'm Poe. But it was only 25 bucks American because I got it on sale. Yay. Anyway, I use these renderings to draw my lines. Yes, I am tracing here for the most part. I told you I was taking shortcuts that anyone wanting to learn to do this stuff properly shouldn't do. But I was having too much trouble figuring out proportions and perspective. I still have trouble with that, probably because I'm using the particular crutch that I am. So once these lines are down, I put in the flat colors for each panel, then fill in the details and do the shading. Then I have my lovely wife look it over for proofreading and suggestions. We call that doing QA. Then once it's done, I post it to the website and all the various social media sites I'm on. Voila, it's done. All right, that's it. Page 4 of Chapter 2 of Balatra's Expedition, which I'm calling A Family Affair. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Please share, like, and or subscribe. Any combination of the above, though doing all of them, that'd be great. It really helps me get the word out about Balatra's Expedition. I'm a tiny channel, a tiny website. Really like to get them both growing. My dream one day is to be able to do this as my full-time job. That'd be great. But that is a long, long way away. So help me reach that dream by spreading the word, or at least liking this video and subscribing and all that stuff, so that YouTube will help spread the word for us. In the meantime, both these videos and the digital graphic novel are a labor of love, and even if it never goes anywhere monetarily, I have no plans to stop until it's done. Maybe even then I won't stop, because, the road goes on forever, as it were. If you feel you'd like to help me out more directly, I do have a Patreon page. That and all of my social media type information is on the screen. There are links in the description as well. I'd love to hear from you, my dear viewers and dear readers. So leave comments here or on Balatro's website. The address is on the screen and in the description, of course. Let me know what you think, what you'd like to see in the future, or just whatever you'd like to say. Have fun. That's really what it's all about. But that's all for now. So until next time, remember, be kind to everybody, especially yourself. Be kind to animals because, well, it's just a nice thing to do. So long.